Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Digital Dish. We have a very special guest today. I am being joined by Farzana Noorzay, who is the VP of Data Science and Analytics at Telstra. Farzana, it is so great to have you. And I'm really looking forward to talking with you about CDP, the importance of CDP, why restaurant brands need it, and obviously data that follows. Before we get into everything, I just want to quickly pass it to you and just tell the folks, a little bit about yourself and your role at Telstra.
Okay, glad to. Thank you. I'm glad to be here today. I'm Farzana Noorzay. I head up data science and analytics at Telstra. It's been a great time here. I've been here for about a year. I have a lot of history. I don't want to say how many years because that just dates me of experience and background in data. But I love my job and I love the hospitality industry. It's been great here.
Perfect. Well, again, it's great to have you. So let's not waste a minute here. We're going to get right into it. So, as I mentioned, we are going to be talking about the importance of a CDP, which is a customer data platform. We're going to be talking a lot about data, analytics, metrics, all that good fun stuff. So, but I'm going to leave that to Farzana. I'm just going to queue up the questions here. But Farzana, where I want to start. I want to start talking, specifically about the restaurant industry as a whole and why data has become so important. Especially over the last 3 to 5 years, the industry has gone through a lot of changes. We've obviously had a pandemic thrown in there. But why is data more important than ever in the restaurant industry?
Well, data is the base of everything, I would say, from my perspective. I mean, every business is a technology company these days, right? And quick service is a little bit late to the party, but like you said, there's several reasons that made this industry kind of fast track and get there digitally. And data really makes restaurants more intelligent and savvy in their approach. The data is what tells us what to do next, who to offer coupons to, what kind of coupons are more enticing, how to organize our menu, and basically what makes our customers happy and well-fed. So we turn to the data for all of that. The understanding your guests is really, really critical. And the way you do that is by analyzing your data and knowing how to make sense of it. In the past, data was used in this industry basically to monitor throughput and just operational efficiency, kind of the hallmarks of quick service. But today, there's various types of data that is very critical. So it's expanded what is collected and how it's used. So data these days is very important for marketing intelligence and strategy. And data still fuels conveniences. We still care about quickness and making sure that the guest gets a personalized experience. But we use that data and behavioral data to build like a recommended for you section on our platform that's customized. Once the user logs in, we serve up what they want or what we know they've ordered in the past, we believe they want. And we also have a trending now section that pops up even before you log in. And before we know who the guest is, we at least know which location they're in. So based on the zip code, we know what popular items there are in each area. So we're still focused on efficiency, but this is digital efficiency now. And restaurants have come so far in understanding their guests and making them feel respected and known and cared about.
I couldn't have said it any better. And you hit on a really important point where I think within that, restaurants are trying to become more sophisticated when it comes to not only capturing the data, but also leveraging, right? Mm-hmm. And so, at least in my experience, I continually hear the question or the concern, I don't own my customers, right? So when restaurant leaders say that to you, what kind of maybe comes to mind? What are your thoughts on that sentiment?
Yeah, I do hear that often, and I think, well, yeah, you don't own your customers. And it is a challenge because consumers have so many choices, and they can be fickle, and they're cost conscious. So brands have to make a concerted effort to win them back all the time. We have to romance our guests and kind of invite them as a guest into our home to keep coming back to us. It doesn't happen automatically or accidentally. So there are things you can do to make them feel known and respected. And it kind of all comes down to personalization, that personalized experience, what you used to get a long time ago in the 50s or so, when you had like a local diner and you would come in, once or twice a week, and the staff knew you by name, they knew where you lived, and you built that connection. At that time, there was more loyalty. And what we can do is help you create that kind of feel in a digital format here these days. I have seen some e-commerce sites, some of our competitors, I see they have guests that aren't coming back for a second or a third time to purchase. And that can be a struggle. We don't want to spend more time constantly trying to get new folks in the door. What we want to do is build relationships with the people who've come in our door and they've come to our site, made an order, purchased something. We want those people to feel known and special, and we want to invite them to come back. So when you have a good CDP, that's really how you can get to know your guests. We don't have that physical experience anymore, so we have to do all of this digitally, which makes it a little bit harder, but it's not impossible. We can help you do that. I have spent my entire career in data, and databases come in so many different flavors. So the CDP is focused all around the customer and understanding the customer. There are other kinds of databases, even in the restaurant industry. Of course, there's all of the inventory and operations databases. I'm not even going to touch on that. But like for Telstra, we have a transaction database and we keep every order. We know, every line item, if they've ordered extra sauce. We know a lot of stuff about what people purchased, maybe whether they're using cash or credit cards. That transaction accounting system doesn't help me really understand the user in a complete sense. It gives me some information, but I can't build like a psychographic model of all my users based on each transaction. So in our CDP, we also keep information about behavior. So there's the transaction and the behavior, and we tie that together to get a full understanding. And with that CDP and a full understanding, then you can know your guests. You can kind of make them feel special and greet them by their name and create that small town diner vibe and romance them to come back based on what you know about them and the relationship you've built. It just has to all happen digitally now.
Absolutely. Yeah. The kind of the phrase that comes to mind is like feeling like a regular, right? Where
Yes.
it's they really understand me inside and out. They understand not only what I want, but how I want to experience their brand. So I think that's a great call out. And within that, I mean, you were obviously getting into it about, the CDP and the data that comes from that makes this all happen. I think with a lot of, I know me certainly on the marketing side, always looking at data, but it's like, what type of data should I really be paying attention to, right? With a lot of restaurant leaders understanding the value that being more data driven, data focused at how it can positively impact their brand. But it's almost like, where do I even start with that? And I know there's a lot that we could unpack for several hours as it comes to like what they should be paying attention to. But, if someone's going to approach you and say, hey, I'm kind of new to this. I understand, how data impacts my business, and I understand that I need to be better about it. But what type of data should I be paying attention to? What should I be capturing and leveraging then to your point about the marketing and loyalty efforts, as well as the overall brand experience?
Yeah, there's so much. And like I said, the CDP is important because it's focused on the customer. So there's the transaction data that I mentioned, the order volumes, the purchase patterns, the popular products, the stores that have higher volume or higher revenue than other stores. That stuff is important. But behavior data is where it gets a little bit more interesting and complicated. So you have your site scrolling behavior. You have to capture and know if customers are spending 10 minutes to place an order or if they're browsing the menu for 30 or 40 minutes before they get to a point where they're ready to close out the product, the cart, and purchase the products. You have to know if people are using mobile or desktop, or if they're on a Alexa or tablet. This kind of information, this behavioral information, is important in designing your platform to be to meet everyone where they are with the right approach. You have to know what their referral channel is. You have to know, if they're opting into surveys or if they're downloading your app and actually giving it a rating. It's good to follow. You have to know what the most effective communication channel is with each customer, like which outreach are they more likely to respond to. The order disposition is important, whether they're using dine-in or pickup or delivery more often. This is all information that helps us understand our customers, which kinds of coupons they're utilizing, which ones are kind of just going to the wayside and not being used, if they're actively participating in a loyalty program. So the more interesting, more complex behavioral data is what we use to monitor engagement, intent to purchase, and this is the key part of the CDP. We also have to tie this back to all their transaction data. So we see someone scrolling and browsing for X amount of time, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and which of those 2 sessions is more likely to end up in a purchase. These are the kinds of things that are important to know, but also how to activate, inspire, and motivate your guests to come back, to complete the sale, to give them what they need very quickly to make it efficient for them. Operational efficiency is still important. It's just kind of through the UX now also, in addition to your kitchen and your delivery system. It has to be simple and convenient to find what you need. So bear with me while I turn the question back on you for a little bit and just kind of leave these ideas to think about for everyone. Do you know on your ordering platform what engagement metrics lead to purchases? Which ones are the most important ones? Do you guys know that? Are you capturing behavior and intent to purchase data? Are you kind of predicting who's likely to buy? And which factors are the indicators that lead to loyal customers that keep coming back over and over again? And I think this is the data that we should not only be capturing, but also making sense of it, understanding it, and turning all of this important, rich data into strategy on how to create winning, long-lasting relationships. That's something, a site and an environment, and that people want to keep coming back to, kind of like our diner, our local diner. Mm-hmm. Tillster can help you guys with this. We've done this for several of our clients. And what we like to use our CDP for is to translate all of that rich data into personalization that makes our guests feel known and special.
All of that is well said. And yes, we are going to keep that question out as when we get this posted. Make sure to leave comments to answer Farzana's question. Very well said. And I think that's a fantastic segue into, we obviously want to make sure we kind of lay the foundation a little bit. I know we keep saying CDP and we use this fun little acronym, but let's kind of define that, because I think the concept of a CDP can obviously get mixed up and maybe misunderstood with other aspects related to CRM and some other components. So let's just throw it out there as what is a CDP? What does it do? And how does it work?
Okay. Yeah. I've heard this before where some people get confused with CRM, and I've heard the sentiment that, like, oh, we have a CRM. We've been using our CRM for years. Like, why would we need a CDP? But they're kind of different. So the CDP is centered around the data of a user. It's all around data based on the user. The user's at the center, and all the spokes on the wheel lead out to behaviors. And then we use that to model people into groups or audiences. So the CDP is a customer data platform. And at the base level, it'll track your customers behavior and their preferences. But the CRM is just a relationship management platform. So it's used to build a relationship, and it's a like outreach. So when you decide you want to reach out to your customers, you use your CRM and you use that method to engage with them. So a CDP really is designed to empower your CRM to be more effective and intelligent. The CRM is not going away. The CDP is a newer concept, and it helps you build customizations at every level. Like I said, the CRM is an older concept. The CDP, some brands are still kind of getting on the bandwagon of the CDP. We've been using ours for probably 5 years here at Telstra, but Forrester data shows that only 25% of B2C marketers are using a CDP, but another 24% plan on adopting one in the next 24 months. So in a sense, it's a little bit up and coming. But the CDP, once again, is bilateral. It's like you reach out, the customer goes on and scrolls, you send a coupon, they use it. It tracks both ways. So it's far more powerful. Like, not only do we know the emails that went out, but we also can see how you're using our website, we track this in the CDP, how you're using our apps. Are you responding to push notifications? Are you, getting to the loyalty point and actually using it to get free items? Because that's an important factor. You build your loyalty points, but you want to make sure that your guests understand that it's time to start activating and using these points. So the 360-degree view of your customer is possible through your CDP. All the interactions that you build into your journey and all the communication and personalization, all of that comes from your CDP. The best thing your CDP can do, though, is it basically pushes all the technical capabilities of your data scientists and your data engineers, all the staff in my team. But that power comes down to everyone in your marketing team when you have a good CDP. So anyone on the marketing team can build the logic through very simple interactions to tweak the metrics and build the perfect group of people that they want to target for a specific kind of push notification or a specific kind of promotion. So the CDP will basically help your marketing team orchestrate customer interactions with pinpoint precision. And they can do it on their own without the help of any data scientist. Your CDP, once you do that pinpoint precise group of people, this audience that you want to reach out to offer them a coupon, what happens is that your CDP basically helps your marketing team build these sophisticated audiences. And with that pinpoint precision, it will create less friction because you're reaching the right group of people with the right message or the right product. And it brings the power of deep data scientists or data engineers down to everyone in the marketing team. And so you can be more effective with your communication.
Fantastic. And I think, this is kind of the next question I have. It's kind of duh with everything you just said, but it's really important to hit home is, what are when you don't have a CDP in place, or even if you do, but you may not fully understand the robust capabilities and not utilizing it to its fullest extent, what are maybe some of the challenges that restaurant brands can face as a result of those two scenarios specifically?
Yeah, that's a good point. So if you don't have a central database like your CDP that's based on understanding your guests, then you might be missing the mark. So missing the mark in your communication can kind of translate into a real world example that's kind of like this, where, you go to coffee with a friend, you go to a coffee shop and they're ordering their drink and they're ordering a non-dairy creamer, and they kind of turn to you and they're like, oh, I can't have dairy. But next time you see them, you run into the same friend. You're like, hey, can I buy you a milkshake? That's missing the mark. You don't want to give your lactose intolerant a milkshake. That's not what you want to do, that would be missing the mark. And without a good CDP, without knowing who your guests are and approaching them appropriately with the right kinds of products and the right kinds of communication, you're basically saying, I don't know you, I didn't care about you, I didn't listen to you last time you told me you're only non-dairy. So that would be missing the mark. And without a CDP, your interactions and your communication, your outreach might be kind of like that potentially. But if you have a CDP, it's great. It helps set you up for knowing your guests and understanding all their interactions bilaterally. But there are still some challenges even with CDP implementations. And the biggest challenge is really that unique ID, the unique person, the unique real world person turning into like a correlated stitched together understanding across all of these different data sets. Because the power of the CDP is all of this episodic data, but without stitching it together and putting it all under one person's interactions digitally, it can be kind of complicated. And I'll give you some examples. But even the Forrester study described that 32% of the B2C companies and marketers say that the biggest challenge is the quality of their customer data. And so an example of this is how hard it is to identify a unique user. So one user has multiple devices. We all know that. We all have at least a phone and a laptop or a PC that we use. But besides that, there's also shared devices. So a shared family computer or an assistant device like a family Alexa in the kitchen. That becomes a complication for the CDP to understand who's using which device and understanding their behavior. So if you have an Alexa in the kitchen and mom's ordering ice cream for pickup, but then 10 minutes later, dad comes on and wants to buy a surprise Valentine's Day ice cream cake for his wife, then distinguishing those two interactions can be kind of tricky. Another example is like the opposite, where we have like, let's use that mom for the example, right? So let's call her Jane Dominique. What if in my database, I see Jane Dominique show up 5 times? Well, I have to either merge all of that data and know all of those interactions were the same Jane Dominique and not different Jane Dominiques. So that part can get a little bit complicated. We've seen it happen, and we've untangled this situation and gotten down to like understanding who came in and did what interaction with our brand. So your CDP has the customer at the center. So it's very important that you have a unique understanding of each person. So those are the challenges with the CDP, and the challenges without the CDP is basically missing the mark. But once you do it right, then you can make your friend feel known. And in this case, digitally, it's all of our digital guests who we haven't necessarily met, but we have to know them and know what their likes, their dislikes, maybe their allergies are, and kind of know that, my girlfriend, if I'm going to eat lunch with her, she's going to order a salad. She might want her dressing on the side, and please do not offer her dessert because she is watching her carb intake. So don't even bother, because that might offend her. So that's the kind of interaction we want to help you guys build.
Yeah. And, I mean, those are such simple examples, but they take place every single day, right? And it's those little interactions can make such a big deal, as you had mentioned previously, about building the relationship with the customer, personalizing the experience, and retaining them, right? Retaining them over time, and seeing a higher value in acquisition and retainment is, some of the core benefits that the CDP allows and enables for your brand. So, how can restaurants get started with all of this? Is there like specific steps that maybe they should take, or how would you advise someone that is, currently without one? I'm read up on this. I know it's right for my brand, but how do I get started with it all? It just seems like a big endeavor.
Yeah, there are basically 4 steps, and I'll get into it. But our goal is basically to help you guys build a natural relationship, like the friendships I'm talking about, or the diner that I'm talking about. It sounds all complicated. We've just been doing it for so long that we've become pretty used to it. And it's basically a 4-step process here at Telstra. We basically ingest all your data, transaction data, as well as like usage data and behavioral data. Then we synthesize it. Step 2 is synthesize. Step 1 is ingest. We put all of that data and compile it to identify the unique user and correlate every episodic transaction, or by transaction, I mean digital transaction, which is any kind of use case. So whether you're downloading the app, or using a coupon, or scrolling the site and not necessarily purchasing today. So we synthesize all of that into one unique user ID. Then we compute audiences based on product affinity or usage behavior, purchase behavior. So basically various kinds of creative audiences that our marketing team comes up with. They're the whizzes on which types of people to put together, and they have the power to do that with the CDP. It makes it easy for them. And then the most important part is activating these audiences. We activate them through personalized content on the ordering site, personalized coupons, personalized push notification, and we know that personalization goes a long way to making people feel comfortable. So a good CDP partner can make it pretty simple for you. The most important part is getting all of this data and stitching it together correctly and effectively. We have some examples I can tell you about that are kind of fun. One thing we've done for one of our Telstra clients is that we built an affinity group. It's a group of people who have purchased chicken-based sandwiches 3 or more times from a burger establishment. So these people are kind of unique. They regularly dine at burger restaurants, but they seem to love chicken sandwiches. So of course, when we reach out to these people, we're going to send them a coupon for the right product, not the wrong product. When they log into the site, they'll see the right type of sandwich that we know they like. And when we send them an email, we'll probably mention their favorite kind of sandwich. I mean, like if you can imagine all of these interactions being for the wrong kind of product, that won't go over as well. So this is an example of how we've deployed our CDP to build an affinity group to activate that audience with the right kind of product. And it could be very, very powerful. Actually, there's a study done by HubSpot, and they prove that they can increase the conversion rate of a call to action by 200% if you used personalization. So an example would be like if I logged in, there might be a button that says, order your chicken sandwich now, Farzana. And that button would go kind of like quickly into like placing your order. So HubSpot study shows that that's increased that like conversion rate of a button when it's very personalized by over 200%. So I think that's pretty good evidence. And I know if I see things with my name on it, I'm more likely to read it.
Mm-hmm.
But in another study, it said that it can increase revenue by 20% if you put personalization, you deployed personalization. So there's both, behaviorally 20% conversion rate on a call to action button. And also that translates really into 20% more revenue for the brand. So it's the right partner who can help you get through this process very simply, can be very effective. And most importantly, it makes all your guests feel like a good friend who knows them and cares about them.
Absolutely. Yeah, you beat me to it because I was going to reference it was the McKinsey's report on the personalization piece, which is like, I mean, that in itself speaks volumes. So,
Yeah.
we've been touching on it here and there, but I want to kind of, give ode to, your department and the value of the CDP and kind of what makes the Telstra offering unique. When we have prospects or even existing customers that are wanting to elevate by taking on and adopting and integrating a CDP, what makes the Telstra offering unique to other providers in the space?
Yeah, we're focused on building a very natural connection, one that makes your guests feel like you're a friend who knows them, or the waitress who knows your favorite dish, but not only that, knows that you're going to ask for extra gravy or extra cheese on that dish. We just want to do it digitally. This world is so digital now, and especially with COVID, everyone's kind of off in their own little environments and using technology to order food. So we try to give you that natural environment, natural human connection, just through the safe computer screens that we use these days. Tillster's a good partner for any brand for building the CDP for you guys. We've just done it for so long. And the other good thing about Telstra is like, we already have all of this data since we have the web ordering platform, we have mobile ordering apps that we build. So we have all of that transaction data as well as like the kiosks. So all of those channels, that data is already synthesized. But then we add the coupon system, so we know whether you're using coupons or not on your kiosk, whether you're logging into loyalty or not. So all of that data is kind of already in our ecosystem. And of course, through all of those sites, we have the behavioral monitoring. So if you're browsing the kiosk or browsing the app for very long, we have that information. So the cool thing about using Telstra for your CDP partner is that all of that data is already kind of in-house. So it's easier for us to stitch it together. And with that data, you can run one-on-one personalized campaigns through social networks, of course, through push notifications or emails. And then we can take that personalization not only from, the personalized coupons, personalized emails, and push that we have, but we also use it on our QSR recommendation engine. So it's just like a full ecosystem of all that data, and every channel for the personalization is under our roof as well. So with the QSR recommendation engine, we can help you create unique customer journeys that have the right products based on your behavior in the past and or your area, your environment. And we can help you build loyalty through interactions that feel more small town vibe, more one-on-one personal approach to all of this. And what we've done very recently is used our CDP for some global brands, burger brands and pizza brands. In fact, in New Zealand, we have the trending now section. It's a big country. So the trending now section is, like I said, based on your location at the kiosk. So you're in various stores, and based on where you are, you'll get different items. It's kind of a testament to different geographies and different culture. An example would be like, I'm just, going to guess based on my own biases and my own understanding of the world. In Texas, I would guess that, somebody might be open to extra bacon and, maybe 2 beef patties. But in California, maybe the right upsell would be more avocados or maybe non-meat based burger. But these are just my biases. I don't really know. What we use really at Telstra is our AI engine that will model user behavior. I just gave like a simple example to demonstrate that there are preferences and there's culture and geography that affects these kinds of things. And so our AI model uses real data that's non-biased. It's just based on the reality of food purchasing patterns. And customizes the journey that users are experiencing through their ordering platform. And then we also use different audiences and reach out to them with email very differently. For example, there's a huge burger brand, worldwide brand, and for them, we have an audience that's called Big Fan. And we also have another audience that's called Asleep. So as you can imagine, those two groups behave differently. and we message them and activate them with different approaches so that it's more appropriate based on what's going on for them with their interactions with the brand. And with that, the Telstra team can help you. The Telstra data team and the marketing team can help any brand build a natural relationship with their clients that make their guests feel known, heard, seen, and appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, it's all comes back to that personalized omni-channel experience, right? No matter where the guest is. So I think that is a fantastic summary. Farzana, I want to thank you for coming on. I think this was, I know for me, it was very insightful and educational about not only just what a CDP is, but really how brands can start to unlock its full potential and the benefit it can bring to them as it relates to not only increasing engagement, retention, but also to the bottom line with revenue. So
Yeah.
I think this has been very insightful.
One thing I want to reiterate is that it's best not to use or the power of the CDP is pulling all the data together. So if you're using different vendors across different channels, it's not ideal. You can do it, but just make sure that the data comes in and is stitched together correctly across all of those different platforms with one unique user. Like the power in using Tilsters, we have all of that data. It's easier for us to do it. It's not impossible, but make sure that the data integration piece is done correctly and effectively. Otherwise, you'll be missing the mark and misunderstanding who to send a milkshake to and who to send extra dressing to.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. And we want to thank everyone for tuning into Digital Dish. Farzana, I'm looking forward to bringing you on again. And I just want to say thank you again for the time. And we will talk very soon and see everyone on the next episode.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.